In today's video, we're going to continue our 2018 NHL Prospect Series, where we take an in-depth analysis of all 31 NHL teams' prospect pools, as well as take a look at their 2018 NHL Draft selections. Today's team we're discussing is the Arizona Coyotes, and that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, today we're discussing the Arizona Coyotes' top prospects. We're going to take an in-depth look at all the top prospects in their system, and we're going to discuss who I think are the top 6 guys currently in the organization that stand a good chance to make the NHL. We're also going to do a quick summary here and take a look at all their selections from the 2018 NHL Draft. First up, we've got goaltender Adin Hill. Now, Adin Hill was originally a 2015 draft selection, taken number 76 overall. He's completed his junior career and now has 2 pro seasons under his belt. Also got himself into his first NHL action this past year during the 17-18 season while Antti Raanta was down with an injury. But overall, you can certainly say Adin Hill's a relatively athletic goaltender, pretty smart, he reads the plays well. The one area he's probably focused on a little bit though is his lateral movements, kind of polished up going from side to side. That seems to be his weakness so far from what I've seen. He ended up playing 36 games at the American Hockey League level last year, putting up a 2.28 goals against average and a .914 save percentage. So certainly things are looking up for Hill at the American Hockey League level. Obviously with Antti Raanta holding down that starting job, signing a long-term contract extension this past season as well. Certainly going to be difficult for Adin Hill to get a lot of playing time at the NHL level, especially after the Coyotes brought in Darcy Kuemper as well. So obviously Kuemper and Raanta are still in their late 20s. They have lots of game left in them, so it might be difficult for Adin Hill to really get much of an NHL opportunity here with the Coyotes. But overall, Adin Hill is certainly projected to be an NHL goalie. He very well might be relegated to being a backup goalie. I'm not sure he's strong enough to be a starter. But I guess time will tell here as he continues his development at the American Hockey League level for at least one more season. Next up, we're going to discuss our 2017 first-round selection, taken number 23 overall, and that is Pierre-Olivier Joseph. Now, he is the brother of Tampa Bay prospect Matthew Joseph, who we spoke about during the Tampa Bay Lightning prospect video. If you're familiar with Matthew, then his younger brother's a defenseman, played in the QMJHL just like his brother did, played his junior hockey with the Charlottetown Islanders. Likely is going to play another year of junior in 18-19. That's most likely what will happen with him. He wouldn't be eligible yet to go to the American Hockey League, and his game is probably not quite mature and ready enough to go to the NHL level just yet. He's got pretty decent size, a 6'2", 168, so he's got the frame, but he needs to fill out and get a little bit stronger to be able to defend well at the NHL level. But he's certainly a very smart, athletic, hardworking defenseman who's a pretty good puck mover as well. So I certainly see Joseph having some pretty good upside here to be a potential top 4 defenseman at the NHL level. Last year in junior, he got into 63 games and put up 46 points, so had a pretty solid year overall. I fully expect Joseph to be able to have an opportunity here as well to play for Team Canada at the next World Junior Championships as well, which will be a great experience for him to play on the bigger stage and play against the international competition. So overall, I think Joseph plays another year of junior, possibly a year of seasoning in the American Hockey League after that. But I do think the Coyotes have themselves a pretty solid defense prospect here for about 1 to 2 years down the road. The number 4 ranked prospect I have for the Coyotes is forward Tyler Steenbergen. Now, Tyler Steenbergen was a 2017 draft pick. He was a later round pick, taken number 128 overall. He's not the biggest guy. He's about 5'10", 180 pounds. Now, Steenbergen was eligible to be drafted in 2016 and was actually passed over. He did not get drafted at all. So what did he do? Well, he didn't give up on his dream. He went back to the WHL. He worked hard, and he put out a 51-goal season after not being drafted and ended up getting selected in the 2017 draft here by the Coyotes. Obviously, he could potentially turn out to be an actual late-round draft steal. I mean, he does have a lot of offensive upside here, in my opinion. He ended up playing for Team Canada last year at the World Juniors as well. Made the team as the 13th forward. Started off not getting a lot of playing time, but at the end of the tournament in the gold medal game, he scored the winning goal, which was arguably the biggest goal of his life at that point in time, which was huge for him. So Steenbergen certainly is no stranger in putting the puck in the net. Tyler Steenbergen is a very quick player. He's got an excellent shot, and in my opinion, he has the potential to be an elite goal scorer at the NHL level, especially you get him an opportunity on the power play. That's where he's going to specialize in as well. But really, I think Steenbergen's going to have to work hard for his opportunity to see if his game translates up to the pro level. So we'll see how things go this year. This year he'll be playing at the American Hockey League level for Tucson, so we'll see how that goes. So we'll see here what the future holds for Tyler Steenbergen, but he does have that elite goal-scoring potential. We'll see if he can make it happen here at the pro level. Now next up at number 3, we have the 2018 first-round selection taken at number 5 overall, Barrett Hayton. Now I think it's safe to say that John Chayka surprised a lot of people with this draft selection, so I'd certainly like to hear if you're a Coyotes fan what you thought of the selection. Were you surprised when he went to the podium and announced Barrett Hayton, considering the other players that were still on the board? For example, like a Philip Zadina. It's kind of a surprising pick, but obviously, as Chayka said, from Christmas time on, they really kind of fell in love with this player, and they really wanted to have Barrett Hayton as a member of the Arizona Coyotes. Now, Hayton plays his junior hockey in the Ontario Hockey League for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. He's definitely going to be playing there again for this season. He could even potentially play one more year after that, depending on how his development goes. At that point in time, in 2 years' time, he won't be eligible yet for the American Hockey League. So if he's not NHL ready and they feel they want him to continue his development, then certainly he could possibly still end up playing 2 years here of junior. Playing for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, who was a very, very offensively gifted team here. He got to play a lot with Morgan Frost, who's a Flyers prospect that we talked about during the Philadelphia video as well. You might be familiar with him. But obviously with that team the way it was, a lot of those guys that were top players have moved on. So his role is going to greatly increase here this year. It's really going to give Barrett Hayton a real opportunity here to play the starring role instead of being a supporting role during his junior season this year. But he's certainly known as a very hardworking, responsible two-way center who can obviously be a playmaker and put the puck in the net as well. Barrett Hayton is an offensively gifted two-way forward here. He put up 60 points in 63 games last year, so he's no stranger to the offensive side, but he's really more known as being that complete player, the two-way guy who can win faceoffs, play the penalty kill, still be really hardworking, shut down the other team's top players. Kind of draws some comparison to a Patrice Bergeron. I'm not going to say he's going to translate at the NHL level to be the exact same kind of player. Obviously, Bergeron is an elite player, and it's hard to draw, to say that he's going to be the next Patrice Bergeron. But he does play a very similar type of game. I'm not sure that his offense is quite there to match what Bergeron's on at the NHL level, but time will tell here. He's going to have lots of time to develop before getting a crack at the NHL. Like I said, he's going to get one more year junior for sure. We'll see where things are at after that. But Hayton likely projects to be, probably in my opinion, a strong number 2 center at the NHL level. Now the top prospect I have right now for the Arizona Coyotes is a player who's been in their system for a little while, and hopefully this is the year that he finds a full-time NHL job, and that's Dylan Strome. As we know, Dylan Strome has some big shoes to fill, was taken number 3 overall back in 2015, and if you take a look at the players drafted ahead of him, and even a bunch that came after him, a lot of them are having some pretty solid NHL careers, and Strome is still struggling to find himself an everyday job. I mean, obviously McDavid and Eichel were the 2 players drafted ahead of him, so obviously he's, got the high expectations here, but even players like Noah Hanifin and Zach Werenski, who are turning out to be excellent defensemen, were taken after him as well. So, like I said, Chayka and the Coyotes are being very patient with Dylan Strome. They see him as a pretty good sized center. He's 6'3". He does have a lot of offensive skill. There's no doubt about that. But he has to get stronger, and he has to work on his skating and his foot speed at the NHL level to really work himself into a regular job. I mean, when he's got the time and space, he can make a lot of things happen. He's an excellent playmaker. He's got a pretty good shot. He can certainly score lots of goals and put up the offensive numbers. There's no doubt about that. But as we know at the NHL level, getting that time and space is that much more difficult. And if you're not quick enough and strong enough, that's going to be a challenge for you to do, which is what's caused his game to kind of regress here at that level. But last year, during the 17-18 season, he certainly tore it up at the American Hockey League level. He put up more than a point per game, putting out 53 points in 50 games. So, I mean, obviously his time there was great. Earned himself a call-up, and he actually looked a lot better. Now, when he came back to the NHL, he was certainly working a little bit harder, in my opinion. We've seen him blocking some shots. So I think his overall game has certainly matured and got a lot stronger. He got himself into 21 games and put up 9 points, which may not sound that fantastic, but it was certainly a nice improvement for Strome, who obviously had struggled in his brief amount of time that he got in the NHL before that. But certainly, hopefully he's having a strong offseason right now, continuing to work on his skating and his foot speed and getting stronger. If all those things come into place and he has a great offseason here and he continues to improve over the next couple of years, they could still end up with that elite center iceman that they really thought they were getting. Now I want to jump over and take a look at the 2018 NHL Draft. Obviously, we already spoke about their first round selection in Barrett Hayton, but I'm going to put up a full graphic here on the screen as a look at your full summary of the Coyotes draft picks for 2018, and we'll go through them here one by one. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, Hayton was taken number 5 overall from Sault Ste. Marie. After that, in round 2, number 55 overall, they selected a defenseman from the OHL's Ottawa 67's, Kevin Ball. In the 3rd round, number 65 overall, they took a right winger from the Czech Republic, Jan Jenik. Also in the 3rd round, number 73 overall, they took a defenseman from the U.S. National Development Team, Ty Emberson. In the 4th round, number 114 overall, they took themselves a goaltender from Youngstown Phantoms of the USHL, Ivan Prosvetov. In the 5th round, number 142 overall, they took themselves a defenseman from that same team from Youngstown in the USHL, Mike Callahan. Also in the 5th round, number 145 overall, they took a defenseman from the Flint Firebirds, Dennis Busby. Their 6th round selection, number 158 overall, they took another goalie from the Vancouver Giants of the Western Hockey League, David Tendek. And last but certainly not least here, in the 7th round, number 189 overall, they made a little bit of history, selecting Liam Kirk from the Sheffield Steelers of the EIHL, the first player drafted from the United Kingdom. So there you have it. There's your 2018 NHL draft selections. As you can see, the Coyotes took a nice variety of players. They get themselves a couple of goalies, some defensemen, forwards. They made history with the Liam Kirk pick. Hopefully he turns out. We'd love to see him play in the NHL. Obviously, as this game is growing internationally, it's nice to see players drafted from different countries that have never had players drafted before. So that's certainly great to see. Nice to see the Coyotes give Kirk an opportunity. So leave your comments down below. I'd love to know what you think of these Coyotes prospects. Which ones are you most excited about? Which ones do you think will have the most impact here at the NHL level? Now, if you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.